International Space Station. Does it serve as a platform from which even more evidence is observed and gathered, as UFO experts suspect?
Yeah.
National Space Station is the most complex scientific and engineering project in human history. And it is easily the largest structure mankind has ever put into space.
The International Space Station project began in 1998 and has been built upon since then.
Permanently occupied by U.S. and international crews, the space station primarily serves as a research laboratory.
The space station is our orbiting platform. It's a place to study what space is like and perform scientific experiments in microgravity while still being able to get to Earth relatively quickly and bring things up relatively quickly.
But is it possible that one of the space station's real functions is to provide a platform from which to monitor the activity of UFOs?
The Department of Defense in the United States
They look at everything as a potential military advancement, whatever it is. So it's possible that on board the International Space Station, there is an entirely different mission statement than what we are told.
The International Space Station is important in terms of the UFO phenomenon because for around 20 years, we've had these elite personnel, astronauts and scientists out there in the front line. So when these people say that they've seen something, you can take that to the bank.
In April of 2004, a live streaming video feed was activated.
The high-definition Earth viewing cameras on the International Space Station allow us to take pictures of the Earth and video as the space station orbits every 90 minutes.
But routine viewing soon turns explosive when, on April 19th, 2016, a UFO in the shape of a translucent square is seen in the space station's video.
It's a definite object that's out there. It seems unusual, for sure, in the distance. And what's particularly interesting is that after a very short time of recording it, the video just goes blue. And you could think, once again, this is a case of NASA just cutting short a transmission of something that shouldn't be there.
The astronauts have seen and continue to see objects in space that do not appear to be terrestrial. They do not appear to be our technology. And then the question becomes, whose technology are they?
And the evidence of unexplained sightings by NASA astronauts continues to grow. On June 30th, 2015, 3 separate UFOs are spotted leaving Earth's atmosphere and flying into space. Some of the following video and photo evidence has never been seen on television.
It's obvious that they're moving at thousands of miles per hour. Has to be. There's no other way. These are highly, rapidly moving objects coming from Earth, converging from radically different points of origin. NASA has said that these are satellites transiting Earth. But these look like they're coming up from the Earth and coming up at angles that are just hard to explain as satellites.
And they're moving in unison with the same goal in mind, and I believe that this is excellent proof that there is something taking place in outer space that probably has intelligence behind it.
Moments after the 3 UFOs can be seen heading into the same sector of outer space, the video feed is lost.
NASA and some other imagery experts have suggested that quite a lot of these films actually show little more than dust or ice particles, that it's very difficult for people to look at these sorts of films and be sure whether they're looking at a massive object far away or a very, very small object close to the lens.
Some researchers believe there are a variety of explanations for so-called UFO sightings.
The reality is there are literally tens of thousands of pieces of space junk, just trash that's literally littered our upper atmosphere that's in orbit. And it includes pieces of dead spacecraft, satellites that have gone offline. So, did they really see an alien craft? Or did they just see maybe one of the millions of different space debris objects that are up there? We may never know.
Then on July 9th, 2016, yet another UFO is seen entering Earth's atmosphere. And again, the video is interrupted.
It seems almost every time there's an intriguing piece of footage from the International Space Station, something goes wrong and the feed is mysteriously cut. Now, is this censorship? Is classified information being deleted, withheld from the public? Or is it just equipment malfunctions? We don't know.
NASA claims the video suffers regular outages as the space station passes out of range of relay satellites. But is this really the case?
These issues have happened so many times, you have to draw the conclusion that they are really doing this to keep information from the public.
Does evidence gathered by the cameras of the International Space Station, or ISS, suggest that UFOs really do inhabit our world? UFO researchers believe NASA may have a hidden agenda.
Given the repeated accounts from astronauts of seeing these extraterrestrial craft, perhaps there is a very concerted attempt by NASA to establish communication with these beings.
I do believe the ISS is doing legit research, but I also believe that the ISS could be a platform for communication with non-human intelligences.
The question has always been with the International Space Station, does it have a secret mission? Is it up there doing more than just the public front view kind of stuff that they show us? Is there a possibility that it is some sort of early space intruder detector kind of craft that's designed to look for UFOs or alien spacecraft? That actually makes more sense than you might think, because there's a long history of NASA missions having secret agendas.
As humans continue to push out and explore the distant reaches of space, UFO researchers believe this will only increase the possibility for contact. Contact for which we may already have proof.
He wasn't crazy. He wasn't crazy.
Sightings in space by American astronauts have provided some of the most compelling evidence of the existence of UFOs. Is it possible that an alien intelligence is trying to communicate with us? Or have they already done so? August 2005. NASA launches the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. On board is an advanced camera system, the High-Resolution Imaging Science Experiment, also known as HiRISE.
The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter orbits around Mars, taking images of its surface.
Its ultra-powerful telescope has allowed the orbiter to photograph hundreds of swaths of the Mars surface in unprecedented detail.
The HiRISE instrument has a resolution of about 1 foot on the surface of Mars, so we get some really great pictures of Mars from this orbiter.
Then, on July 13th, 2016, major news outlets report that the astronomers using HiRISE have discovered formations on Mars that bear a striking resemblance to Morse code.
Morse code was developed in the 19th century as essentially a binary code. It's a way of quickly encoding a lot of textual information through a series of dots and dashes. The US military still trains a number of people each year in Morse code, and that's because it's still the easiest and most reliable way to transmit information over distance.
Images coming from the HiRISE instrument on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter saw dark dunes on the surface of Mars. Some of them elongated and some of them more like dots. Our best guess for what formed these is winds coming from different directions.
Despite NASA's attempt to explain the phenomena, the government agency admits the dune formations are very complex, making it difficult to determine exactly what caused their formation.
Scientists don't really know exactly how to explain this. We don't have anything on Earth that looks like this. So the question is, what causes it? Is it natural or is it artificial? It's as if somebody kind of dug up around a bunch of land and created this dot dash pattern. Now, there's no explanation for this geologically. NASA has described it, but NASA has a tendency to suggest that the description of something is the same thing as explaining something. It's not explainable.
For UFO investigators, the satellite images raise significant questions. What if the strange formations are the result of something other than the natural process of wind or geologic activity on Mars? And what if they were created by an intelligent species that once lived on the Red Planet?
Now, is this Morse code proof of a past intelligent civilization, or is this something that science just has yet to explain? We're dealing with an alien world. We don't know everything on the Martian surface.
If those features on the Martian surface are Morse code, then two questions arise. Firstly, who sent the message? And second, what does it say? Now, experts in Morse code have actually looked at these Martian features, and they've been unable to decode it. It doesn't seem to correspond to any language that we know, but maybe it's not written in our language at all. Maybe it's written in somebody else's language, and that we can only guess at.
When the geologic explanations don't add up, and yet you can't really say that it is something artificial, you're kind of stuck in the middle. It's a genuine mystery what that stuff is, and NASA's explanation certainly is not adequate.
We've been searching for life on Mars, and we absolutely can't rule out that there was once life on Mars. We think about 3.5 billion years ago, Mars may well have had water at the same time that life was blossoming on Earth.
This compelling new evidence of the possibility of oceans, rivers, and even lakes on Mars adds to an emerging picture of the Red Planet as once being a habitable world.
Given what we know that took place with the water billions of years ago on the planet, We have to take this into account that there could have been a civilization
Yeah,
out
yeah,
extinct,
yeah.
and there still might
I
be
agree.
life on that planet.
I do believe that Mars was inhabited at one point, and what we see on the surface today is remnants of that civilization.
As mankind's interest in space exploration has gone